In all my decades of life, I've never seen anybody be significantly successful without having a significant mentor, role model, teacher, coach to help point them in the right direction. Jake Shields has been my primary mentor in MMA and grappling. He's taught me a lot of what I learned about jiu-jitsu, about grappling, and being a good, well-rounded fighter.
Yeah, well, while I was teaching you, I'm not stupid, so I've been picking your brain, asking you question after question every time over here about wealth, whether it's stock market, real estate, entrepreneurship, and I've learned a tremendous amount.
If you're serious about putting in that work and creating real wealth in your lifetime, I'd like you to join us on Wednesday, April 2nd for live training. We're gonna walk you through the 10 most important things you must do if you wanna create significant wealth in your lifetime. And after that training, we're gonna do a Q&A and answer any questions you might have about wealth, about success in general, how to build a better life, how to have less poverty and more prosperity, live your life on your terms, live the life that you wanna live.
Click the link, I'll see you April 2nd.
Jake Shields over here today. We've been putting in work this week on some grappling, some weightlifting, doing a lot of filming actually, some business related things as well. Finishing up construction on my most recent project. That'll be done this week, really, next week. Excited about that. Turned out pretty well.
Yeah, it looks amazing.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. It's 4 months, but it's I thought about it. I had like that's like a 4-month construction project, and then before that we had like 33 months of other construction. And
I've been coming over here as construction, but what you turned your place into is like amazing. Like when you bought this garage, it was cool, but what you turned it into now, I walk in, I'm like, wow. Yesterday when I saw it, it's not a garage.
Yeah, that was the intention. Is I wanted to look like a home that you drive your Rolls Royce and Maybachs and fancy cars into.
Podcast studio in there, like cool hangout area. It's a cool room. Yeah,
the point of it is a studio, obviously. That we built a cool studio in there, and but yeah, I like the look of it. That as a studio, you're like, where are they filming? Like, it looks like the inside of a home, but there's like nice cars in the background.
No, exactly. It's really. It'll look really good. Rolls Royces and Maybach sitting in the background.
Yeah, it was easy. Man, a lot of good progress in construction, a lot of good progress in jiu-jitsu, and I hear a lot of political talk recently. And we're going to have a few years right now where it might be the best years of our life in business. It might be the biggest opportunities left in our lifetime to go make serious money. And I really hope that all of you take advantage of that. Jackson says, hi, Derek and Jake. Thank you for your time. This week, I signed an executive order to start a sovereign fund for America. Can you provide your thoughts regarding how it works and how individual investors like us can be benefited from it? Well, if the government is now a competitor that's buying assets in the marketplace, so he's talking about a sovereign wealth fund. And a sovereign wealth fund means that the government is making investments in companies and owning stock or owning real estate assets, et cetera, which to some extent they already do through the Federal Reserve Bank that I was just making fun of. When they say they expanded the Federal Reserve Bank balance sheet, it means they bought assets in the open market to drive up the prices at that time and add more liquidity in the economy. And then when they sell those assets later, they say they're offloading assets from the balance sheet or reducing their balance sheet. So regarding the sovereign wealth fund, it's like, I don't know. I have a couple mixed thoughts about it. As an investor, I think, oh, that's cool. So somebody else is bidding up asset prices, and that might be good for the assets that I own, that they might be more valuable in the future. Secondarily, I think, okay, if the government can sell bonds, I'm just going to say some arbitrary numbers, but just in general, if the government can sell bonds for 4% and then invest that money, so raise money like they do selling bonds, treasury notes, and then invest that money and make 8 or 10%, it's like, all right, if somebody's dumb enough to buy the government bonds instead of making the 8 or 10% themselves, then I suppose they deserve a 4% return instead of the 8 or 10% return. So. And if the government's making money while doing that, then probably no harm done. But I also think there's a little bit of financial irresponsibility in the sense that why is the government, why are they borrowing money and then investing the money? Like they're those bonds. They call it the so-called risk-free rate, but like those bonds are not really without risk. Those bonds are like they're guaranteed by the taxpayers, by the ability of the government to raise your taxes and pay the debt back. So if the taxpayer is taking the risk, but then the government's making the money and doing what with it, with the spread? I'm like, I had mixed feelings.
Yeah, they're probably doing something weird with the money. It's probably not going to us, a foreign country or drug companies. Or I'm skeptical, but could be good if it's done right. It sounds a little weird.
Edwin says, Derek, good to see you again. Question. How did you fund acquisition of your first rental properties when you were starting out? Oh, that's easy. I was not. So I started out when I was 7, making any little couple dollars that I could. Walking dogs, raking leaves, shoveling snow, cutting grass, painting fences, babysitting children, whatever. Imagine me as your babysitter.
Yeah, no. Sorry, Derek, you're not babysitting my kid. You're like, get out of here, you little annoying.
I actually did a good
Shut
job.
up.
I actually did a good job, but I understand. And,
You'd probably actually do good.
I did.
But you would hate it.
No, it was okay. I just took it serious. Like, okay, it's a responsibility. They're like, if the neighbor is going to put me in charge of their children, I have to take that seriously. And,
Good point. You're a responsible person.
yeah, I got to know where the kid's at. Can't let them get hurt. Got to make sure they got food and stuff. And yeah, if the people come back and nothing's broken, their house is clean, the kids aren't hurt, the kids aren't missing,
They'll hire you
people are
again,
happy. Yeah. People are happy and they'll hire you again. So I actually did a good job. But the point to your question, Edwin, is by the time I was buying properties, I was 19, and I already had 12 years of money making experience. So. This idea where somebody like they have no money and they want to go, manifest some wealth from nowhere. So you got to go do something. You got to go do something to earn some money. I was doing that for 12 years before I started buying properties.
Yeah, for me, I bought 2 homes right after a fight. I would just take the money and buy a home. Some people say it's good to have payments, but I was just like, whatever. I just want to own it outright. Mm-hmm. And there's obviously 2 ways of looking at it, but it just kind of feels good owning something outright.
Well, I mean, most people don't own it, so
yeah,
it's a hell of a lot smarter than when some people do.
People say they own homes when really they have a bunch of homes that they're struggling to pay the mortgage on. Yeah,
the bank owns the home and they own the mortgage. Yeah. You got to go do something first. If you go do something, you have no trouble. There's going to be some money. If you need money overnight, yeah, good luck. I never talk about this magic money or free money or easy money, quick money. I never talk about any of this. It's such an asinine idea. If you want something, you have to go build it. And the first years are miserable, and you look dumb and feel dumb, and that's how anything important is this way. Like think of the first years of a sequoia tree. It's like, is the sequoia tree like big and bold and mighty? Or like it hopes it doesn't get eaten by a rabbit. The thing's a little sprout. Think about
it that way, yeah.
Quite literally, like when the thing's a little sprout, it's just a seed and it sprouted and it's a little vulnerable thing. It hopes a human doesn't step on it or like a rabbit doesn't come eat it, So that's how frail your beginnings are going to be. But if that sequoia tree does the thing that a sequoia tree does for a period of time, pretty soon it's a ginormous, it's a majestic and beautiful thing. What are those, 400 feet tall, some of them? Something like that.
Hundreds, I know. I've been around, but they're insanely big. I just don't know the exact heights.
I think it's something like 400 feet. So, it doesn't start off that way. When you see the thing now it's 1,500 years old, and it's 400 feet tall and 20 feet wide, it didn't start off that way.
But yeah, if you don't do these things when you're younger, you're going to be like a Walmart greeter or something when you're old. Mm-hmm. Versus choosing what you want to do, it makes a big, big difference in every aspect of life. Yeah,
if you don't do the work, then don't be surprised when you don't have the right outcomes. But if you do the work, you'll have much better outcomes. Nothing mysterious about this. Are you tired of being broke, living average, living below your true potential? Look, success is not for everyone, and it may not be for you. But if you've got a good work ethic and you're willing to learn more so you can earn more, Jake Shields and I are doing a live training on Wednesday, April 2nd, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. East in your lifetime. Jake, have you ever seen anybody get wealthy or have exceptional results while putting in like a low amount of work?
No, it takes a lot of work, and you've taught me a lot about it. I have a work ethic. You talk a lot about getting wealthy. It sucks being broke, so I can definitely vouch for your skills.
But it is a lifestyle choice. Click that link. Join Jake and I on Wednesday night, April 2nd, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. We're going to help you banish some of your ignorance, learn more about real wealth creation, and point you in the right direction so your hard work is well rewarded. Click that link. Click it now.
Unless you want to be broke.